France, the United Kingdom and Russia then sign a military alliance and create the Triple Entente. The alliances risk dragging the entire continent into war. Major powers embark upon an arms race and prepare military plans. In the southeast of the continent, the Ottoman Empire is weakened by a revolution. Austria-Hungary takes advantage and annexes Bosnia and Herzegovina. This move is opposed by Russia and especially Serbia, which dreams of uniting the Slavic peoples of the south. Then two Balkan wars pushed the Ottoman Empire to the borders of the continent. On June 28, 1914 in Sarajevo, the heir to the Austrian throne, Francois Ferdinand, and his wife are assassinated by a Bosnian Serb nationalist. Austria-Hungary accuses Serbia of having organized the attack. Russia defends Serbia, while Germany, now the world's leading military power, supports its Austro-Hungarian ally. On July 28, Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. Russia reacts by decreeing a general mobilization of its troops, triggering Germany to launch its military plan. To avoid having to fight simultaneously on two fronts, Germany plans to quickly defeat France by bypassing its armies by launching a surprise attack from the north. It would then focus on Russia, whose troops would take more time to mobilize. Germany declares war on Russia, invades Luxembourg, and issues an ultimatum to Belgium, demanding right of passage for its troops. Belgium refuses, insisting upon its neutrality. The following day, Germany declares war on France and launches the offensive. The United Kingdom, which guarantees Belgian neutrality, in turn declares war on Germany and sends its troops to France. In a few days, all European powers, as well as Montenegro, go to war. Only Italy remains neutral at this stage. In Asia, Japan, which is allied with the United Kingdom, declares war on Germany and prepares for an invasion of its colonies in China and the North Pacific Ocean. On the Eastern Front, Russia launches its offensive earlier than Germany expects, but fails to gain ground in East Prussia, while further south, Austria-Hungary retreats. In the west, the Allied armies cannot hold back the German advance. The Franco-British armies retreat to Marne, where they reorganize, while the French government flees the capital to take refuge in Bordeaux. But the first German army holding the flank pivots away from Paris to join with the Second Army and continue surrounding Allied forces. The Parisian Reserve Army attacks further north, stopping in its tracks the German advance. With this breach in the ranks, Allied forces rush in and force a German retreat. This is the failure of the Schlieffen Plan. When the front stabilizes, the two camps attempt to outflank each other and embark upon a race to the sea. For Germany, it is also a question of isolating Belgium and seizing ports where British reinforcements and supplies land. The Belgian army barely succeeds in joining the deadlocked war front. Networks of trenches are dug on both sides for about 700 kilometers between the North Sea and the Swiss border. Now that the Western Front is frozen, both sides use full force to attack the enemy. The war becomes total. The mighty Royal Navy imposes a naval blockade on Germany, while German submarines are sent to British waters to sink all ships and vessels. Aviation, which is still a recent invention, is used first for observations. Planes would then gradually be used for bombing and air combat. The Germans use Zeppelin airships to bomb Paris twice and England around 50 times. Both sides use lethal gases to attack the enemy in the trenches. Behind the front lines, entire populations participate in the war effort, including women who are involved in arms factories. Around the world, European colonies and British dominions are engaged in war. They seize German colonies and supply large reinforcements of soldiers to the front lines. On the Eastern Front, Russia is in trouble with Austro-German troops. The Ottoman Empire seizes the opportunity to go to war alongside the Central Powers. A new front opens in the Caucasus as Britain lands an Indian army in Mesopotamia with the goal to take control of oil resources. In reaction, the Central Powers launch an offensive towards the Suez Canal to cut supply lines from India, but are stopped in their advance. In the Caucasus, after the failure of the Ottoman offensive, the government accuses the Armenian people of having supported Russia. In retaliation, more than half of the Armenian population would be massacred in what is today recognized as genocide by 32 countries, but not by Turkey. To support geographically isolated Russia, allies want to open a sea supply route via the Dardanelles Strait. Franco-British ships enter the strait to bomb Ottoman forts, but find the waters full of sea mines, forcing a retreat. A month later, on April 25, allies organize a military landing, but Ottoman defenses hold steady, creating another deadlocked war front. During its submarine war, Germany sinks the British ship Lusitania, causing 1,200 civilian victims, including 128 US citizens. The United States, officially neutral until that point, registers protest. To prevent the US from going to war, Germany slows its submarine warfare. Italy, after negotiating with the Triple Entente to annex new territories, declares war on Austria-Hungary and launches an offensive around the Isonzo River. On the Eastern Front, Russia completes its retreat and stabilizes the battlefront. Bulgaria, which wishes to recover Balkan territories, joins the Central Powers. Together with Austro-German forces, they invade Serbia. In reaction, the Allies violate the neutrality of Greece by using Salonika to land reinforcements coming from fronts such as the Dardanelles, where Ottoman victory is complete. But it is too late for the overwhelmed Serbian army that flees via Albania. Troops are landed on the island of Corfu, from where they will be gradually brought back to the Macedonian front. On the Western Front, Germany launches a massive offensive in Verdun. The German artillery pounds French trenches, which resists as best they can. In the south of the continent, Portugal, allied with the United Kingdom, confiscates German ships in its ports. In response, Germany declares war on Portugal, who then sends troops to France and to üks colonies in Africa, where only German East Africa still resists the Allied offensive.
Rồi lớp, thì chắc là chúng ta chỉ xem một đoạn ngắn thế này thôi ha. Rồi, xem. Ta quay lại cái nội dung của sao mà tắt này. Cô nào không biết làm sao tắt cái phần chia sẻ để quay lại. Này, chúng ta quay lại cái nội dung bài ha. Tính chất là cuộc chiến tranh đế quốc phiên nghĩa lắm ha. Vì nó không có mang lại lợi ích gì cho người dân, mà chỉ là mục đích tranh giành thuộc địa của các nước đế quốc thôi ha. Này, chúng ta xem một số những cái hình ảnh liên quan đến cuộc chiến này. Vũ khí của Anh. Thì trong cuộc chiến này thì Anh đã đưa vào hai cái loại vũ khí mới, đó là tàu ngầm với lại xe tăng. Với cái đội hải quân hoàng gia có tiếng lâu đời của mình thì cũng đã đánh bại được nhiều cái đội hải quân của nước Đức. Lúc này thì vũ khí của Đức, mặc dù là Đức thì đã sao, nhưng mà Đức cũng đã học hỏi và cải tiến rất là nhiều những cái vũ khí của mình. Thì so với các cái vũ khí của các nước khác thì Đức cái số lượng không bằng, nhưng mà về cái độ chế tác và cái kỹ thuật của vũ khí của Đức thì hơn hẳn so với các nước Anh, Pháp. Này. Hình ảnh cái hiệp ước Paris. Và tại cái hội nghị Versailles, nơi mà tổ chức cái lễ ký kết hòa bình, hiệp ước hòa bình và bàn bạc giữa các nước thắng trận trong vấn đề chia sẻ và phân chia phạm vi